For many women, menopause marks a natural phase of life, a transition that signals the end of menstruation. But in Kenya, for countless women, it remains a silent struggle, misunderstood and often stigmatized. In Iten, Elgeyo Marakwet County, we meet Josephine Kibaru, a mother of 6 at Iten Market. She tends to her goods at her stall.
Mimi nilianza menopause na 35 years. 35. Nikaanza hiyo reaction. Ikakuja hiyo moto kufika 40 sasa ndio ikaribika zaidi. Nikang'ang'ana nayo mpaka tukakosana na mzee. Nikakosana na mzee kabisa, nikiona mzee nataka tu sitaki yeye.
Josephine left her marital home, spending 7 years at her parents' home, raising her 6 children alone.
Akapigia sasa huyo mama yangu mwenye aliniambia wewe Josephine hata usiende hospitali. Akampigia akamweleza. Gogo sasa akamweleza yeye wewe ungewaje yechu. Mimi naona yeye amefika menopause, ungewaje kidogo kwanza atulie ndio muongeleshe.
Her husband, puzzled, turned to elders for answers.
Akamuuliza gogo sasa hakuna hata dawa yenye anaweza pewa. Ndio yeye arudi nyumbani. Gogo akaambia nimeuliza daktari akasema hakuna. Ati hormone ikishaenda chini. Hiyo ndio menopause sasa, temperature ya menopause inaenda very high.
When symptoms worsened, Josephine finally sought medical help.
Daktari akaniambia uko na miaka ngapi? Sasa hiyo nimefika 40. Akasema sasa hapo ndio mahali menopause inaanzia. Akanipea Panadol siku hiyo. Nikakuja nikakwangeka mguu, wapi, kila mahali inakuwa uchungu. Hakuna mahali sisikii mahali uchungu iko. Nikarudi tena hospitali. Ndio nikaenda nikaambiwa sasa mama wewe enda tutulia, wewe uko kwa stage ya menopause. Enda ng'ang'ana tu itaisha.
The condition has taken a toll on her work and family life.
Nikikuwa mgonjwa hata sikuji soko, nachikalia. Nachikaa tu kwa nyumba. Nalala mpaka saa yenye mwili natulia kidogo hivi naamka.
Though her symptoms have reduced, the emotional distance remains.
Mpaka hata mimi nimerudi nyumbani, lakini sasa nimeenda hata tunaangaliana tu na mzee huko. Kama pusi na umbwa. Kila mtu analala room yake. Sasa tutafanya nini? Hakuna.
Josephine believes men need to be educated about menopause.
Wase hawezi kukubali hiyo kitu. Anasema hata labda kuna mwingine nje. Sijui ameendaje. Na hata ajui mama amefikia wapi na amekaaje.
At 48, trader and mother of 2, Anita started noticing changes.
Nirealize wakati ilikuwa ina skip, miezi sina skip, ndio nikarealize kwamba inakaribia. By then ilikuwa 48 years.
Anita says she was partly prepared thanks to knowledge she found online.
Nilikuwa nimesoma, mostly internet, unasoma, unapata kusoma vitu mingi. So kwanza unastuka kwanza, because huwezi ikaa hivyo. Na sisi zamani, wakati tulikuwa tunakaa na kina shosho, walikuwa natueleza vitu hiyo mambo itaweza fikia. Kama wasichana sasa sisi zamani tulikuwa tunaketishwa na kina koko, wanatuongelesha kama wasichana wadogo kwamba mtapitia challenges hivi na hivi. So ilikuwa I was prepared psychologically really.
Despite being ready, the physical symptoms were still tough.
Hiyo changes ni ngumu because saa zingine unachoka, mwili inachoka, una sweat, ni kama hata kwa kulala huwezi kujifunika because una sweat sana usiku.
Anita faced myths and taboos that shaped her understanding.
Unajua sasa hapo, ukifikia hapo, mambo mengi utawajana nayo. Sisi tulifundishwa na kina gogo kwamba ukikatika hakuna kukutana sasa. Walikuwa natuambia kwamba challenges ni kwamba walikuwa natuambia ati mtu ukisha katika alafu lale na mwanaume uchafu itasanyana kwa tumbo itafura. Sasa sisi tulikuwa tunajua tu hiyo imeisha kabisa. So challenges ni kwamba mnakosana kwanza kwa nyumba.
To cope, she threw herself into her work.
Haikuaffect sana, haikuaffect because unajua sisi tumezoea kufanya kazi, sasa hata ulikuwa activities zilikuwa mingi kwa akili, so huwezi fikiria sana.
For 65-year-old Pamela Mayo, menopause came at 49.
Nilianza kutoa jasho usiku, si jioni, hata usiku saa ile umelala unasikia jasho mingi. Alafu baada ya hapo nikasikia tu nimekuwa weak, mikono, joints na miguu. Nikitaka kutembea hata kupanda mlima hivi nasikia niko very weak. Nikajua vile gogo alikuwa amenielezea hiyo stages. Nikajua hata kutembea, kufanya kazi nilikuwa nasikia tu siwezi. Baada ya mwezi moja ikaisha.
Despite the discomfort, she never discussed it at home.
Na upande wa mzee anajua nimepitisha hiyo miaka, lakini hawezi sema na sijaambia hivyo. Najua kama watu wazima hawezi ulizana vitu kama hiyo. Anajua tu mimi nimepitisha hiyo miaka, lakini hajaniambia na sijamwambia.
Another trader, Felister, a widow and a mother of 4, noticed her periods gradually disappearing at the age of 53.
Ikawa ni unapata periods kama huu mwezi, alafu inasukuma for another 2 months, haifiki, inafika inaenda another 5 months, inafika ikaenda ikikatakata mpaka ikakata once.
Her main challenge, hot flashes and constant fatigue.
Mambo na hasira inakuanga, lakini si sana. Vitu yenye unapatana nayo ni tofauti. Ile mimi nilipata ni kwamba unakuwa karibu sickling every time. Unaenda unatibiwa hospitali, lakini hawatibu menopause, wanatibu ugonjwa ile umesema.
Felister found comfort in physical activity.
Exercise, huwa tunaenda uwanjani tukiwa kama 10 grannies, tunacheza football. Kabla hatujacheza kuna exercise mingi ya kukimbia, ya kurukaruka.
Though menopause slightly affected her market work, she stayed resilient.
Ili affect lakini si sana, kidogo, sababu ukikuja wakati wa baridi unafunga labda mapema, unakuja a little bit late.
After learning more about her condition, she says she no longer felt the need to visit the hospital.
Saa zingine unaenda chemist unanunua madawa, unameza masiku zinasonga. Mama wachanga, ningeambia tu wao wakaribia wamama wa rika yetu wapate mafunzo.
For Nairobi-based Ruth Musembe, the journey was long and confusing. Her symptoms began years before she even realized she was in perimenopause.
But looking back, I think it was much earlier, so probably around 2017. But for me, when I sought help, it was in 2022. And the reason I sought help from my gynecologist is because I was having very bad hot flashes.
Ruth's husband, Reverend Dr. Patrick Musembe, admits he knew little about menopause until it affected his family.
I had heard about the term menopause, but I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what it's all about.
Fatigue, insomnia, and brain fog made daily life difficult.
If I have a medical cover for the family, I would be the one to exhaust it. Because every 2 months, I would be back to the doctor. Most of the time, a different doctor. Because the first one I went to, they ran tests. They didn't see any major sickness. Yet, I'm still feeling sick. I'm fatigued. I'm always tired. I reached a point I started feeling like my brain is not working as fast as I want it to work. And actually, my life became oscillation between conventional doctors and alternative doctors.
Eventually, her long-time gynecologist gave her the answer.
Now, 2022, when I moved from fatigue to feeling tired, now to hot flashes, I spoke to my gynecologist. And is a gynecologist who has looked after me since 2001. So it's someone I know very well. So I just sent him a WhatsApp message. I said, Daktari, I'm really like sweating. What's the problem? What could be the issue? Then he wrote there, he said, Ruth, I think you are in perimenopause.
That was the first time Ruth encountered the word perimenopause. Perimenopause is the transitional phase leading up to menopause, characterized by hormonal fluctuations that cause symptoms like irregular periods, hot flashes, sleep disturbances, and mood changes.
So I asked him, so what do I do? So he recommended for me vitamin E and some other herbal remedy from India. So that's what I started taking now in 2022. And after 2-3 months, I felt better, so I stopped taking it. And then after a few months, I felt the hot flashes came back, so I went back to it.
Even with herbal remedies, the symptoms persisted.
So now I went to another alternative medicine doctor. He gave me another herbal something. So now by the time I'm in 2024 October, I was doing very badly because this second herbal medication that I was given stopped working as well. So now 2 herbal medicines which were working, or herbal supplements, let me call them that way, which were working, they stopped working. And now I'm sweating so profusely. I cannot sleep because why? I used to wake up every hour.
Our energy levels were going down. I began to realize those hot flashes, and quite frequent. At one moment it's hot and she's fanning herself. Within a short time it's cold and she has layers of clothes around herself. And we have these napkins that she would carry along with her. As we go to places, I could see her wiping herself. And I noticed that her sleep was also disrupted. And with the disruption of sleep, of course, comes energy levels.
The symptoms affected her emotionally and mentally.
I go to work, I'm fatigued, I'm exhausted, my brain is not very sharp because I didn't get enough sleep. So that was my encounter. It's not my situation now because I finally found help. I realized for some period of time I was withdrawn, so I didn't enjoy a lot being with people.
At first, he didn't understand what was happening.
I thought, just like any other normal man, what have I done wrong? That things are not working and we are not talking, as it were, until I got to understand what was happening in her and provide the support that was needed. So really, I think men need to know something around menopause.
She credits her family for helping her cope.
I found a lot of family support, and my children are young adults, so they seem to quite understand that mom is going through a phase, so they would see me trying to use a fan to make myself cool down and stuff like that.
Ruth now advocates for greater awareness and access to treatment.
Right now, I feel there's a bit more awareness about it, but there's also, I don't know that to call it stigma or lack of awareness, because I saw a conversation recently, one doctor posted on their page about, there was a menopause conference early, just mid this year. And so she posted about the conference and what was being discussed. And some people are like, no, but menopause is just part of aging. Why would even someone want to medicate menopause? Just go through it.
She reminds women that menopause doesn't have to mean suffering.
If you can find help. And I told you that I already found help. So actually, 2 days ago, I was celebrating 1 year after I started medication treatment. And my life has changed 180 degrees. Ask the question when you go to see doctors. But I want to warn you, not all doctors are on board. Some of the doctors, you ask the question, they will think you are coming from Mars. So the best thing is go to the right doctors.
As a man, I think we need to be present to our wives. And I think we need to be empathetic. I think we need to give them the physical support that they require, in addition to the emotional support that is needed.
Across Kenya, women like Josephine, Anita, Pamela, Felister, and Ruth are rewriting the narratives on menopause, breaking the silence, seeking help, and finding strength in shared experience. Menopause is a life stage that marks the end of a woman's reproductive years. It happens when the ovary stops releasing eggs for fertilization, subsequently stopping menstrual periods, and there is a decline in circulating blood estrogen levels. After menopause, a woman cannot get pregnant except in rare cases where specialized fertility treatments are used. Menopause is not a single event, it's a gradual transition that happens in stages. The first stage is perimenopause, which often begins in a woman's early 40s and can last anywhere between 2 to 8 years. The second stage is menopause itself, reached after 12 consecutive months without a period. At this point, estrogen levels drop significantly, making natural pregnancy no longer possible. This hormonal decline also increases the risk of health issues such as heart disease and bone loss. Finally, there is post-menopause, the stage that lasts for the rest of a woman's life. Here, many symptoms ease, but low hormone levels can still contribute to long-term health risks. To understand what really happens during menopause, we spoke to Dr. Josephine Kibaru, a gynecologist and reproductive health expert. According to Dr. Kibaru, the journey often begins quietly, catching many women off guard.
Menopause creeps on women, if I may say so. Sometimes most of the commonest symptoms usually is hot flashes, and sweating, a lot of sweating, which surprises many people because it's not something they are kind of aware of, and it starts just suddenly.
The symptoms are wide-ranging: physical, emotional, and mental.
But of course, the commonest and how we define menopause is when the menses stop. So we cannot talk of menopause unless the menses have actually stopped. So the menses stop, then now these other symptoms are associated with it.
In Kenya, menopause symptoms are often misdiagnosed.
You find that most of these symptoms are kind of confused with malaria, especially in our setup. So in my practice, I've seen women who've had many doses of antimalarials, almost on a weekly basis, because they go, they're told it's malaria, they are given Fansida or whatever. Of course, the symptoms don't go away.
The timing of menopause differs for every woman.
Because some may have delayed menopause, so you find even at 60 they're having their menses. Others may have what we call premature menopause, and you get somebody of 35, 40 having menopause. But the normal, regular, documented is usually after 50.
Several factors can influence when menopause begins. These include genetics, lifestyle habits such as smoking and body weight, as well as medical factors like surgical removal of the ovaries, known as oophorectomy, and undergoing treatments such as chemotherapy or radiation therapy. Dr. Kibaru says some women struggle to get the right diagnosis not because of lack of tests, but because menopause receives little attention in medical training.
They're supposed to take proper history. So if they are able to find out this woman is not having menses or stopped menses, and now they're having this sweating and so forth, then they should think more of menopause than malaria. And malaria, of course, can be confirmed with a laboratory test. They should update themselves also with the management, because this menopause subject, even in the training programs, is not given a lot of emphasis.
Managing menopause requires awareness, support, and lifestyle changes.
So even as we think about other treatment options, the most important thing is to discuss that this is a physiological thing and it comes to an end. It's not, the symptoms don't remain forever. Then there are, of course, dietary management for menopause, because you find where a woman is overweight or eating, if I may say, badly, like sugars and lots of carbohydrates, all this kind of, make the symptoms worse.
Hormone replacement therapy, HRT, can offer relief but remains out of reach for most Kenyan women.
Hormone replacement therapy is where a woman is given estrogens to reduce, to increase the levels, because that is what causes the hot flashes and so forth. When the estrogen levels are so low, and then other hormones like progesterone and others, become very high. So that environment in the body causes changes in the metabolism and all that.
In Kenya, the cost of hormone replacement therapy medication ranges from about 3,000 to 21,000 shillings.
What I would want to say is to the government, they need to include hormonal replacement therapy, those drugs used for this, in the essential drug list. And also encourage importation of generics, because what is available now is original molecule, which is very, very expensive.
Dr. Kibaru believes silence and stigma make menopause even harder for women.
Women think I'm going through this alone. They don't know their sisters and their mothers also went through this, so they also keep quiet. They don't even inform their daughters as they are growing up. So it is that mystery around that which we need to break that chain and talk openly. The other thing, of course, is to involve the men, because men don't just understand what is going on. They think their wives or they are sick. That's why they are sweating like this. That's why they don't want to be intimate with them. They're just being difficult.
Her advice to women:
women need to empower themselves with information. These days, information is everywhere, AI, Google, whatever. But then also try to discuss these issues with other women.
Dr. Kibaru believes that community health promoters will play a critical role in raising awareness about menopause.
We have community health promoters who are on the ground these days in many communities. This should also be a link who can be used by the health workers and the county leadership to actually, give this information to the community. It stops being a mystery, and it is seen to be just a rite of passage, something which women pass through as they are getting older. That way we will reduce the stigma.
In Kino, Kiambu County, Ann Kigotho, a community health promoter for 10 years, says menopause education has not reached the grassroots.
Katika hali yangu ya kuwa CHP, upande wa menopause, hayo masomo hajatufikia sisi kama wana CHP. So, sijui kama kuna mpango, unajua masomo, huwezi soma mara moja. Unasoma, unasimama, unaendelea.
She says most women in her area only learn about menopause through personal experience or informal conversations.
Sana sana inakuwa mawaidha, maybe mtu binafsi, kama unajihisi ni kama kuna mabadiliko kwa mwili wako, ndio unaenda either unatafuta daktari, kama ni rafiki yako mnaongea, mnaelewana na kueleza umri, miaka yako ni ngapi, so anaanza kuambia unaingia sasa katika hiyo hali ya menopause.
Anne first learned about menopause from an older friend.
So akaniambia sitakwambia kama ni ugonjwa, lakini iko na mambo zake, inakuja na shida zake, sababu mara mingi alikuwa na meza painkillers kama headaches, anakuwa na moods, mara hataki kuongea. So hapo ndio nilijua mambo ya menopause, na nikataka pia kuchimba ndani. Though bado nilikuwa myang, so si kuelewa vile.
Today, as a CHP, Anne refers women to hospitals but wishes for better training and information.
So ni vizuri kama serikali ingeweza kutupea hayo masomo. Angalau kama ni mara moja, mara mbili hivi, tupate kuelewa.
Anne has started experiencing early menopause symptoms herself.
Na kushangaza, niko na dada zangu wawili wakubwa. So wakati niliwaambia vile nasikia, walicheka. Mkubwa kabisa akaniambia mimi sijawahi sikia kitu kama hiyo. Mwambia na wewe ndiye mkubwa wangu, akaniambia mimi sijasikia. Mwenye nimefuata pia akaniambia mimi niko tu. So ni kama inategemea, sio lazima kila mwanamke.
She calls for awareness not just among women but also men.
Inafaa pia mabwana zetu, wanaume wetu na ndugu zetu pia waelimike pia, ndio angalau mkeo ama dadako akifikisha huo umri wa menopause upate kuelewa napitia yapi.
Kenya's 2019 census shows that women aged 45 to 54 make up 4.6% of the total population of 47.5 million, while those aged 55 to 64 make up 2.7%. These age groups represent a significant portion of Kenyan women who are either entering, experiencing, or transitioning through menopause. That's nearly 3.5 million women, making menopause a growing public health and workplace concern that impacts families and productivity. In Kenya, a 2024 study of Kenyatta University involving 478 women aged between 40 and 60 found that 38% of those going through menopause experience reduced work productivity, a rate 20% higher than among women not in menopause. Overall, 72.6% reported mild to severe impairment, while 33% faced moderate to severe challenges in their work performance. The report indicates that most workplaces in Kenya do not have guidelines on menopause. From homes to workplaces, menopause remains one of the least discussed yet most impactful transitions in women's lives. Experts like Dr. Josephine Kibaru and frontline workers like Ann Kigodho agree breaking the silence and spreading awareness is the first step toward empowering women through this natural phase of life. Nuru Abdulaziz for Willow Stories.